Welcome to OOD Works, the podcast, a show about unique individuals and the services provided by Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, the state agency that helps individuals with disabilities find a job and be more independent. Here's your host, Kim Jump.
In this episode of OOD Works podcast, I'm so excited to introduce you to Troy Hammond. He is a celebrity right here from Ohio. He is the only countrywide touring blind comedian in America. He's performed in 32 states, featured in Reader's Digest, and he's worked with some of comedy's best, including Dave Chappelle, Drew Carey, and most recently, Troy plays the character of Blind Billy in Welcome to Flatch. That's a docu-comedy that's brand new. It's on Fox and Hulu, and it kicked off in March of 2022. And it's described like this. When a documentary crew sets out to explore the lives of residents in a small American town in Ohio, their dreams, their concerns, they stumble upon the Midwestern town of Flatch, which is made up of eccentric personalities. It's a place you want to visit and maybe even stay, if there was a decent motel, which there is not. So, Troy, I'm loving Welcome to Flatch, and I'm loving this opportunity to talk to you today.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, this is so exciting that you're in this new show, which is hilarious. Everybody from Ohio needs to watch it because it's so relatable.
Yeah, Flatch, Ohio is a fictitious town in Ohio next to the fictitious town of Boston. And the show's based on the BBC series This Country. And that was going to be the original name. And then they changed it to Welcome to Flatch just to be able to, I think, draw in more of the American sensibilities. And it's produced by the people who produced The Office and Sex and the City. And I don't know. I'm very optimistic about it myself. Even if I weren't part of the cast, I definitely would check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's just weird people in situations. A lot of, those nice people who live down the street that you hope don't know exactly where you live.
Right. And I know for me, the characters, Big Mandy, there's Shrub, there's Kelly, Father Joe. They remind me of people I actually know.
Oh, yeah, that's what producers were going for. And I don't know exactly where. I know in the British version of This Country, there's an episode where the British Big Mandy is complaining because a blind man cut her fingers when she punched him in the face and his glasses broke.
Oh, geez.
That's her way of looking at the situation. And I think from that one little scene, they decided, what if Big Mandy actually had a blind nemesis? And that's how I believe my character came into play. And around Thanksgiving last year, I just got a call out of the blue. A lady I'd never spoken to before said that she was calling on behalf of Paul Feig and Jenny Bix. Paul Feig, of course, being from Freaks and Geeks, Ghostbusters, the 2016 version, and Bridesmaids. And Jenny was one of the writers and produced Sex and the City and gave us the movie The Greatest Showman. So luckily DVS lets us know who the heck these people are in the credits. And when I heard the names, I knew who they were talking about. My first thought was, well, how do they know who I am?
Yeah, how did they? How would they? And was it through your comedy?
I know they were looking for someone with a background in comedy, and I believe I might be the only surviving touring blind comic in the U.S. at this time. There were people like Alex Valdez years ago and a few others, but it's a rough life on the road, finding a ride to the bus station, taking the bus to whatever city, finding your way to the hotel, doing whatever you need to do once you get there, etc. And working for the folks at Welcome to Flatch, they have a guy pick me up at my door, put me on my plane. They have another guy pick me up, take me off that plane, see if I need to go to the store, and then they take me to my hotel.
That's awesome.
For a 60-year-old newcomer, it's awesome. I have to say.
You're like pinching yourself after, I'm going to have to ask questions about it because, as a comedian navigating cities and hotels, especially before the technology was up to speed to, make it easier on individuals who are blind. That really is a big change.
Oh, yeah. I went to college pre-ADA. So I'd already learned, that there are going to be obstacles out there. And you always hear people say, you need to overcome that disability. You need to overcome that disability. And nobody can. I mean, the only way to overcome total blindness is being able to see. But you can adapt. You can make the most situation and you can do your best. And that's all I've ever, really done out there. And it's kind of worked out. I'm too busy to care about what the problems are going to be. I look at what the outcome could be if I just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that attitude. Well, and obviously you've been adapting. I mean, to be on the road for so long as a comedian and doing that, I think you've proven your ability to adapt.
Yep, I'm like Gumby. I bend to the situation.
Well, tell me more, about Flatch and what it was like when you're actually, working on set with the folks who are putting it together.
Oh, it was great. I mean, I was a little starstruck the first day because there's Jenny Bix, the lady from Sex and the City, and of course, the first thing I say to her is, "Hey, if you keep me in for season 2, there's a foot rub in it for you." And then I realized what I said. And I don't know if that helps. We will find out if there is a season 2. And Sean William Scott is great because Sean, one of his first acting gigs was on a TV series in the 90s, Unhappily Ever After. It was a show about a divorced couple and a talking stuffed bunny. And my friend Stephanie Hodge was the lead on that show, and it was his first gig. So we've known a few of the same people over the years. So the first time we met, I shook his hand and I told him that Stephanie Hodge sent a kiss. And he said, "Well, I'd rather you didn't give it to me, buddy." And then he stopped and said, "Stephanie Hodge, you mean with Mr. Fluffy?" And we both started laughing. And the rest of the day we were improvising and cutting up on set. And I don't know. It's when you see the scenes with me and Father Joe, we had a great day doing those. But
can't
everybody in the show is great. Aya Cash was the first person I met, which was quite exciting for me because I just caught The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment they said, "And then you're going to, well, when you see episode 6, you'll know what I had to do." And all I could think is, "Oh my gosh, I have to do a scene with Stormfront." And it's when you're used to just being a nightclub comic who knows this celebrity from here, that celebrity from there, and you're not used to series TV, there's a lot of structure, but everybody is on the same team. They're on the same page, and we're all working for the same thing. Mm-hmm. And if I needed a hand somewhere, someone would offer an elbow. And I mean, I felt a little hillbilly when I showed up and was excited about my trailer. And the funniest part was like halfway through the day, I asked somebody, "Could you help me to the men's room, please?" And the guy said, "Sure, no problem." He showed me where the door was. I did what I needed to do, came back. And when I got back to my trailer to change back into my everyday clothes, I realized that the mirror I had been leaning against next to my fridge was the door to my bathroom.
Oh, no. Well, it would have been nice to have that pointed out maybe by someone.
I don't know. I've run around with carnival and circus folks and never felt so green.
Well, I love that there's a camaraderie there. It sounds like a fun place to work and a team environment, really.
Oh, yeah. Well, when we get our scripts and we do the table read, a lot of people are having trouble not laughing. And some of the people are just, I mean, it's a great cast. The casting is amazing. Sam Straley, Chelsea Holmes, William Tokarski, Crystal Smith is Big Mandy. They're all perfect for their parts. They were well chosen, and basically they took a blind guy in a Hawaiian shirt off the streets, and they turned him into a blind guy in a Hawaiian shirt owned by the studio.
Well, I want to talk about your character for a minute. So you first appear in episode 6. I'm not there yet, and it's not actually at the time of this recording isn't available to me, but I want to hear a little bit about, without, giving away too much. Tell us a little bit about that character of Blind Billy, and, do you feel like you relate to this character?
I've known guys like him, but I don't find myself like him. Billy's always looking for an angle, always looking for some kind of advantage. He doesn't use his blindness, but he mocks people with it occasionally. Like the heightened senses myth. It's obvious that he doesn't believe it. It's not true, but it's fun to throw at somebody when you're trying to shame them.
Okay.
And he's not the standard characters on most shows, when they have a visually impaired character, they always try to make them an inspiration. And they always try to make them, they're either a little too good, a little too passive, a little too peaceful, or in some cases, we've seen characters who are a little too bitter. They, blame the world for problems that have nothing to really to do with the blindness, but because that's the first thing society sees, that's what they think. Mm-hmm. And we've been fed these since, I did some research, and the first time a person felt a person's face that I can find on record is a Lillian Gish movie about the French Revolution from 1921. The movie, Lillian Gish played a blind girl, and she touches her sister's face and recognizes her because for some reason the voice didn't do it. I don't know, but there are so many stereotypes that have been created over the years that just getting to play a character like this, it kind of makes me hope I get to bash a couple of them down.
Yeah. So you really feel like Blind Billy is different from those kind of stereotypical blind character roles.
There's no warm fuzzies with Blind Billy, and he I won't give away too much, but he's probably worked for almost every business in the town. Okay. Up until they got sick of his business, because he's an opportunist. Mm-hmm. Big Mandy is the town bully, and Billy is the one person who is not afraid of her. Everybody else kind of backs down when Mandy says or does something, but Billy is the first person to say, wait, that's not right. Mm-hmm. Or make fun of her. But I think that people will enjoy it. It's different.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see the two characters together, because Big Mandy is hilarious.
Oh yeah, they originally had more stuff for us to do, but due to editing, so they can make room for commercials, not everything made it. But
sure.
Episode 1, not one. What am I saying? I'm sorry if you can't hear in the background. My phone is telling me that somebody called me during an interview, because telemarketers just don't care.
No worries.
But yeah, Billy is he doesn't take it off of Mandy, and Mandy's not used to that. And Mandy does not like that, and that's why I think in season 2 we will see more conflict between the two of them.
That's going to be fun. I will certainly keep my fingers crossed for season 2, 3, 4. I love it. I think it's great. So, Troy, tell me about, I know you've also, in addition to, the comedy circuit, you've also done work as a motivational speaker. You've done some animated voicing, and you've been a radio DJ. Tell us a little bit about those efforts.
Well, the DJing was in college at Ohio University, and it was not very good.
Okay.
See, that's one of the things people are always afraid of. I'm always willing to try something new because you don't learn what you are capable of until you try it, and you also don't learn what your limitations might really be.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather fail and learn something than not have tried. And I did an oldies show for a year in college, and then after that, when was that? 1996 or 7. I did a voice for a thing called Kids Time TV. It was like nonviolent children's programming in a 2-hour with shows like the New Zoo Review and the Elephant Show. And I was a clock, and I talked like this, and I can't do it now. 20 years of hard living has caught up to me. The other 40 years, I was just coasting.
Oh, man.
But I did that for a couple of years, and then I don't think their ratings were very good. And then I traveled throughout, and as of this year, I have done comedy in 35 states.
35 states. I stand corrected.
And,
wow.
And then came COVID. So
yeah,
that was an interesting year.
And, tell us about that. How did, were you able to take some of your performing online, or what was it like for you?
I need the audience in the room with me. The remote shows, I know people who did them, but personally, I think part of the fun of a live show is being there where you know the performer is in the same room as you.
Yeah.
And my gosh, I'm not cracking wise a lot today, am I? It's mostly philosophical, I think.
That's okay.
But yeah, just I don't know. And that's the thing that I miss. That and the money. The traveling around, meeting people, getting to share ideas and have people react in different ways, because in different parts of the country, different people react to different types of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the show, I realized, oh my gosh, these people hate me. So I started doing a Friends act, which was quite blue. And by the end of the evening, people were buying me drinks and patting me on the back and giving hugs and buying my T-shirts, which you can find at troyhammond.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of proud of those. Those helped make a few house payments back in the day.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage people. They can find where you're at on social media, find what you're up to. So definitely check out troyhammond.com. Yeah. And we'll put that in the show notes. I know that back in 2010, you had connected with our agency. We were under a different name back then, but our Bureau of Services for the Visually Impaired. And you had a counselor. She's actually not with us anymore, but stays in touch, from Florida.
Yeah.
Lise Severs. Yeah. So tell me about how you got connected with the agency and kind of this, about the services that you received.
Well, back in the early 80s, when I went to OU, I went to BSVI in search of assistance. And the most they could do for me at the time was to help me try to find copies of my books, either on tape or in Braille, and give me so many hours per college quarter of paid readers, which helps out a lot. But as of 2010, with my work, people weren't taking phone calls anymore. Nobody was writing letters, and everything I had done up to that point was through the mail and through telephone conversations. And now that it was all online, I was floundering, trying to, keep enough work to stay afloat. And I contacted Lise, and we had a meeting, and I explained, this is how much I made in this year, this is how much I made in this year, and this is how much I made this year. And a group of us sat and we talked about it, and Lise arranged for someone to help me build a website, and also got me involved in computer classes at Functional Training Services.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 6-week course. I was done a little early just because when you're in your mid-40s and you take a class, you understand the significance as opposed to when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I just tore through it. I was, pulling all-nighters, just sitting with my laptop and learning routes to do things and trying new things and how to edit this and how to do that. And within about, they gave me the training in 2011. Within about 8 months, my work was picking back up. And then in June of 2012, a year after I had gotten out of my computer courses, my partner of 22 years passed away from apnea.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that changed the course a little bit. And I went through a lot of things through probate most people would never expect to try to maintain my home. And I'm happy to say I am sitting in the living room of the home I have owned for 25 years.
Wonderful.
I bought it at a county auction in 2017.
Wow, good for you. So when you did the training, was Lisa able to also help with providing some technology for you to be able to use?
Yes.
That sort of thing?
They provided a sweet laptop.
Wonderful.
But I've had it passed away after being treated like a workhorse for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Flatch, I have a new one that somebody told me has even a better picture than the original. So,
Great.
not that that does anything for me, but they seem really keen on it.
Well, that's wonderful, and I'm really glad. It sounds like for you, things were kind of coming to a head with, the way things were how times had been changing and where the technology could help you continue to thrive in, your business, really. So I'm so glad that you found her. So you knew about the agency in the 80s and then reconnected again when you really needed it at that point.
Yes, I hadn't spoken to anyone. I was from pre-ADA, so it was all new to me, the whole concept that, no, we're going to help you. Excuse me? Because when I started in the first grade, it was 1968, and in the 60s, nearly 3/4 of the disabled were not in the public school system.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's always hard to explain to people if there's 20, 30 years difference between you, how much things do change over a very short period of time. And I mean, the opportunities today are so much better than like in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And in the 90s, I was busy just trying to build a career. I hadn't even thought of anything like computer courses or anything like that. And I was lucky enough that when I got my mobility instruction, I had a very good teacher. And, when you see on Flatch, I'm one of those guys who's willing to run with a cane.
Wow. Nice. That'll be fun to watch.
If I'm on the clock, I'll take risks.
You're willing to go for it. That is so cool. Well, what
nightclub black and white. So I've it takes a lot to scare me away.
I guess so. I mean, you definitely seem like you're willing to just go for it, which I think is so cool. Well, Troy, besides hoping for continued seasons of Flatch, what else is next for you?
Well, I'm scheduling some comedy shows after the network airs the episodes, which my episodes will be on the 21st and 28th of April. And then in early May, I have a couple of things in Columbus, Ohio. I'm doing a benefit for the homeless, but I don't have any of the information on it because my computer's in the other room.
That's all right. And we'll try we can add things to the show notes. Yeah.
Just go to troyhammond.com. You might find out something. So a lot of good information there and a lot of fun pictures and audio and et cetera.
definitely check that out. This has been amazing. I'm glad Lisa continues to be a fan of yours and that she reached out to let us know, because I hadn't heard until I got an email forward from her friend Leslie that's with our agency. And I thought, boy, this would just be so awesome to get to talk to you, Troy. So I very much appreciate your willingness and saying yes, and for all of our listeners to be able to hear from you and go visit your website and support you with a t-shirt purchase, or go to one of your
man. Tell about the t-shirt before we head out here, because we're talking about a t-shirt design on the radio, basically. So
describe Chris.
The t-shirts are 100% cotton, black t-shirts with white puff paint on the front that says in Braille and print, "If you can read this, it's sexual harassment." And on the back of the shirt, it has a cartoon of a guide dog laughing next to an open manhole, and the caption says Troy Hammond, the reality trip. Because the trip seemed really weak double entendre at the time, and it went with the cartoon.
I will be ordering mine. I'll be careful where I wear it. Make sure that the company.
Don't worry.
Oh, this is great. Well, anything else that you would either want me to ask or that you would want to share?
Oh no, I've shared too much.
Oh, you are fun to talk to. I definitely want to come to one of your shows.
Whenever you come to a show, you're with the band. So
cool.
Look forward to meeting you in the real world.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much, Troy. I really appreciate the time today.
Well, thank you.
A transcript of today's episode is available at ood.ohio.gov/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. We're on social media at Ohio OOD. Do you have a disability? Do you want a job? We can help. oodworks.com.